Hello, dear researchers. Thank you so much for your accept our interview and welcome to Istanbul.
It's such an honor to be here today, and the session so far has been absolutely fantastic, especially with the ministers, the Minister of Malaysia and the Minister of Bosnia-Herzegovina. They had a really inspiring vision for education in the world today. And so it's wonderful to be here and to be part of the conversation.
Thank you. What is your opinion about that program?
The summit is really hitting the educational debate at a key moment because all around the world, especially post-COVID, I think we all understand that education is really what families really want to put the focus on, and it really is part of our future, and it is instrumental for governments around the world to make the educational experience as powerful and compelling as possible for students, and also how to support our teachers deliver that education.
What should be the architecture structure of the school to provide the better education for the student?
Before COVID, there was a lot of advance in innovation in school architecture to be a lot more open, to have bigger classrooms so we can develop more personalized teaching, individual teaching for students, but also more team working for teachers, and also more collaborative skills for students. And I think we all know that in the world, it takes more than one person, one architect to build a school. It's a whole team of builders and engineers. We should be teaching students of tomorrow what the workplace is like. How do you deeply listen to your colleagues? How do you work in a team? To make a television program, you need a whole crew of people in front and behind the camera. We need to teach those 21st century skills of collaboration for all our students. Yeah, so in school architecture, of course, we look at the physical dynamics of the space. We look at the acoustics, the temperature, the humidity, and what we found is acoustics is a really big part of the teaching environment. And since COVID, we found acoustics to be even more important. During during the lockdown in COVID-19, what we really found was important was that it wasn't the visual connection, but actually the audio connection was really important for students to engage in lessons. So I think we've learned a lot through the pandemic and innovation in digital pedagogy, and we really need to think carefully about going forward what are the elements that really make a really positive experience for students.
Okay, thank you so much. What is your last opinion and last saying to our users?
I think what is really important at this summit is that we are talking about education, but we also should listen more to students and teachers and really learn from them and from their experiences about how we can support them as they navigate through all of these changes. There's been tremendous change since pre-COVID all the way to where we are now, and also with all the digital innovation, the whole landscape is changing in education, and we need to support our teachers and students. These are all new tools. They need to be given the support to learn how to use all of these new tools.
Thank you so much for dear researcher for this interview. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for the
welcome to Istanbul, Mark.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your accept this interview. Thank you. I would like to ask you, what is your opinion about that program?
The program, I think it's fantastic. I think it's really focusing on what the changes are in education that need to happen around the world. What I've listened to so far today is that those changes seem to be a little bit different in different countries, and that actually is very understandable because different countries have different challenges, but there's also some really common key themes with a real focus on humanity perhaps with a real focus on problem solving and those kinds of issues really sitting underneath what people are talking about here and talking about building whole children rather than an obsession with just exam results and attainment scores.
Yeah. And thank you so much. You said this is some common problems or some common topic that which is kind of internationally in Turkey or British or other countries. Can you please give some specific examples for those?
Yeah, do you want some difficulties which are international? I think one which we certainly have in Britain, and I think probably more widely, is people's willingness to become teachers. And I think that comes from a lack of understanding of what teaching is. Because when I interview new teachers in Britain, I ask them why they want to be teachers. And they say, because I want to be important to children's lives, I want to help children, I love working with children. And yet, what we hear about teaching, of course, is all about exams and attainment and scores. Our minister from Bosnia was talking about the word educate and how educate should be a really bigger word than just learning content in a classroom. And I thoroughly agree with her.
Yeah. It is kind of a humanity responsibility, right?
Say that again, sorry, I didn't catch that.
I said it is kind of humanity's responsibility.
Yeah, absolutely right. And I don't think we can underestimate the importance of teachers in that. Because although parents, families probably have the biggest influence on our children, teachers have a real key influence, particularly for children who perhaps don't have such influences at home, particularly across communities within any country, whether or not it's Turkey, whether it's the UK, whether it's anywhere else in the world. So yes, I agree with you. I think humanity is a real key theme that's coming out of here, and people thinking about teachers' role in building humanity amongst children.
So what is the point of how to relate it with the technology transformation for education system?
So this is a really good question, because one way in which you can get technology wrong is to simply focus on the content learning aspects of education. So when COVID came, some teachers spent a lot of time just teaching content across Zoom or across Teams or across other platforms, or even just across email. And what that did was it took away all of that whole person education that should have sat underneath education more generally. So our challenge, I think, in this conference is really thinking about how you build community in technological environments, how you build dialogue in those environments, and how you use technology to do that. But it's only day one, and we haven't got quite far enough to see people's solutions yet from around the world.
What kind of program do you plan to use for digital transformation for the British education system?
I don't think I can answer the question you've asked, because I'm not responsible for the British education system, but I can talk about something which is causing discussion at the moment, which is AI. Things like ChatGPT, Google Bard, Microsoft AI as well. AI doing homework for students, for example, but then AI acting like a tutor to students. So doing a homework for a student and a student submitting it as their own is obviously not right. But if a student's gone home and they haven't quite understood the lesson in class and they go and ask AI to help them, then that's probably okay, because it's really like having a personal tutor sitting at home. So we're very early stages in how AI is going to influence how teachers operate. But what we have to do as teachers is realise it's here to stay. And then we have to then work out, what do we actually value in what we're teaching to children and what we're asking them to do. Because if AI can do it, then maybe we need to start shifting our ideas about what's valuable. It may be that some things are still valuable that AI can do, and we think they're valuable anyway. Just because AI can do it and children can be assessed on what AI has done, it doesn't mean the thing itself isn't valuable that we wanted to assess. We may just need to think of different ways both to teach and different ways to assess the things that we care about, if we really want a valid and reliable assessment rather than getting a load of assessment from AI.
This is my last question, Mark.
what are the major problems in British system right now?
The key problem at the moment is teacher recruitment. It's teacher recruitment, so people not coming into teaching. And it's been described yesterday as a crisis. And I run a teacher training course, and our numbers are 30% lower than they should be. And so in Cambridge, we will be hosting a meeting in February, which is entitled "How do you resolve the teacher recruitment crisis?" We've got a number of experts coming to us to give their views. I'm not sure I want to commit to a view yet, but what we have to do is realise that teachers are professionals. If change is going to happen, much of it should be driven by teachers, not imposed from the top, and we need to focus on teachers having autonomy in their roles so that they can really behave like true professionals and really feel autonomous as educators of our young people.
Okay, what is your last saying, Mark? Thank you so much for this interview. What is your last message or last saying? Can you please share with Haberler.com?
Whenever I end up in front of a camera at a meeting like this, I give the same message, which is it's absolutely wonderful to see so many teachers here and so many teachers online who are interested in developing their practice, learning more about education, listening to each other, not just ministers or academics, and really building, as a result, fantastic teaching practice off the back of it. So my real message is hats off to all the participants. They're making a big effort to be here, and they should be proud of themselves.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.